Welcome back, everybody. CRN Digital Talk Radio. What's cooking? I'm Paul Stern. Eric Joseph in for the out today. Eric Hines. Eric Hines out on assignment. He'll be back with us tomorrow on the program. Looking forward to that. But with us now, going to get on into, as we spoke about prior to the break, getting on into the drums. Drums are always very exciting when you talk about musical instruments.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's any instrument as interesting, so to speak, as the drums, because first of all, not only do they make quite a presence so far as their sound, but kind of visually speaking, it certainly gives you quite a bit to look at. And talking about quite a bit to look at, let's talk about here Sticks and Skins. That's a coffee table book that is out and available for you. And we happen to have with us the authors, Jules Follett and Liberty DeVito, here with us on the hotline. Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good
Morning.
I can't take credit of being one of the authors, but I will take credit of being a drummer, on stage anyway.
Fabulous. Tell us a little bit about kind of what is it like being a drummer? How does that kind of set yourself aside from other aspects or other parts of a band?
Well, I take pride in saying that a band is only as good as its drummer. If you start with a good drummer, you've got a good band. There's many a time you will walk in and hear a band, and the guitar player is a shredder, and he's really great, but you'll walk out and say, oh, that band was terrible. But you can walk into a garage and see some young kids just pounding away and playing with so much passion and energy, and you go, that band was great, because the drummer is driving you and moving you. That's how important the drummer is in a band.
I completely agree. I think being a drummer, you actually are the leader of the group. I know a lot of times people think the lead singer is like the head honcho of the band, but I really think that drumming is the number one instrument to be in a band.
Yeah, the drummer gets all the fans, the lead singer gets all the girls, and the writer gets all the money.
Well, I often know that there have been cases where bands have had to actually kind of remove a drummer and get a different drummer, specifically because the drummer couldn't kind of keep up with things, whether it be the kind of the intensity or the trends of the music at the time, or just simply they just didn't have what it takes to kind of progress. But Jules, what is it about drummers that kind of sparked your interest in putting this whole Sticks and Skins together?
Well, for many years I did entertainment photography, and I photographed headliners, and I would be in a photo pit and see the drummer way in the back where the lighting was really bad. So I was challenging myself to get a good shot of the drummer. I met Liberty DeVito while working with Chuck Berry and told him about my idea to do a coffee table book, and he told me it had never been done, which was music to my ears. Liberty took me to my first NAMM show and introduced me to over, 100 drummers, including Simon Phillips from Toto, Denny Sywell, Paul McCartney and Wings, and Joe Vitale from Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And with his recommendation, I was able to include 516 drummers. And one of the beautiful things about the book is they all got to tell their own story.
Very, very cool. So we get like a kind of a bit of the personality, not only from the visual, but a little bit of what the kind of makes the drummer tick, what they're all about.
Absolutely. It's really a piece of history, and it preserves their legacy.
Kind of a long tradition, rock and roll photography, kind of a cool thing to kind of be into just to kind of begin with. But getting on into something as specific as the drumming scene, that really had to be an extra added bit of kind of dimension.
It really was. I've been very blessed. And we, there's so many great drummers out there, and some of the ones that we have included in the book are some of the great rock drummers like Stuart Copeland from The Police and Neil Peart from Rush, Max Weinberg from Bruce Springsteen. We have female drummers like Cindy Blackman from Lenny Kravitz, all of Beyonce's girls, Kim Thompson, Nikki Gillespie, Marcy Chappa, jazz drummers, Jeff Hamilton from Diana Krall, Jack DeJohnette from John Coltrane, and some of the true legends like Ringo and Louis Bellson and Hal Blaine, who's played on over 6,000 records.
Now, Jules, how long did it take you to write this book? I mean, you're mentioning some of the top talent in the entire music industry here. How long did it take you to write this book?
It took me 2.5 years. We traveled to 53 cities.
Wow.
This is really a journey kind of through drumming history. It's kind of not only like you mentioned, it's you get the personality, but you also get a historical overview as well.
Correct. And not only did they tell their own stories on their page, but they also chose where they wanted to be photographed. So some people are photographed in a concert setting. Some others wanted to be photographed at their homes with their pets or in their studios.
Kind of a cool thing, like I mentioned, when you talk about rock and roll photography, how long have you been doing this? I mean, this is something that, again, long-standing tradition, especially when we think of rock magazines of, let's say, the 1970s. This is obviously quite an endeavor and quite a field to be in.
Well, it started about 11 years ago, and like I said, really photographing headliners for about the first 7 years.
What is it that, if there's anything that you've learned through this experience about drummers specifically? Is there any added insight that for those that are looking to kind of either get into the field of rock photography or photography as it pertains to drummers, or if it's something we need if we could learn about drummers, what is it that makes them tick?
Yes, absolutely. Something specific about drummers that is different than other musicians is that drummers really are a family, and there's a camaraderie amongst them that really is not there with other musicians.
Now, Liberty DeVito, I got a question for you. What is it like to be playing in front of a huge audience? I mean, that's got to be breathtaking in itself.
Well, the first thing you learn is that when the lights come on, the stage lights come on, you can only see past the first 2 rows. That's it. You can't see further than that. And so what happens is your adrenaline, you hear the crowd, and your adrenaline goes up so high that any aches and pains that you've had while you were walking up to the stage are totally gone. And then, I have this little place. It's called the Slingerland, I like to call it. It's the exchange between when I play and then the crowd reacts that makes me play better. And then they react more and I react more, and the show gets better and better. And that's with Billy Joel. That's basically what we did, for like when I played with him for 30 years. It was a back and forth thing with the crowd. It's very important.
So you definitely feed off of the crowd's energy?
Was that?
Yeah, you definitely feed off of the crowd's energy?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Always kind of holding things down. The drummer, as a member of the group, kind of keeps things really strong and steady.
Yeah, you're right in the middle. You're cueing everybody that's on stage. You begin a lot of the songs. And then recording with Billy Joel for those 30 years too. You make up parts that go with the songs. My job was to do what Billy Joel couldn't do. He wrote the songs, but I had to make up a drum part that made those songs better.
Wow. Jules Follett, where can people find the book, and how can people get information about your whereabouts and activities?
Well, if you go to the website, which is sticksandskins.com, you'll find a list of the wonderful retailers across the country that are certainly carrying the book, including Barnes & Noble and Guitar Center stores, and many of the drum shops across the country.
Excellent.
Perfect. The book is Sticks and Skins. Sorry, Paul, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Sticks and Skins, the book. Thank you very much for joining us, Jules, and thank you very much for Liberty.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
Wow.
Gotta go get that book.
Sounds like it's not only a great book, but kind of a great pictorial of drumming history.
Definitely.
The best age for your child to learn to read is during the first 5 years of life. Kathleen discovered this fact firsthand.
A friend of ours recommended the Your Baby Can Read series when we had our first child, Jacob. Never thought anything of it. We plopped him down in front of it.
Your Baby Can Read worked amazingly well.
When Jacob was 3 years old, he was reading at second grade level. He turned 5 in July, went to kindergarten, and in 3 weeks he was moved to first grade.
Kathleen knows it's no coincidence.
Because we have 3 children and all are reading on a high level, school is very easy. Straight A students, maybe 1 or 2 children, but all 3, probably a successful video. So bam, it worked.
Did Kathleen have to work at it?
No, I didn't have to do a thing. Your Baby Can Read definitely gives them a life skill that can never be taken away from them. It's been invaluable.
For a limited time, you can receive a completely risk-free trial of the Your Baby Can Read program. Call now and we'll also include 3 free learning gifts with your risk-free trial. Call 1-800-650-70